So today I am showing you guys my Vanguard portfolio. This is actually my retirement portfolio account. So I have both my wife's and my IRA in this one account. You guys can see here that currently we are sitting at over $70,535. Now, this is a brand new milestone for both of us on our portfolio. I, of course, count them together for our retirement, and I'll break down each one individually as far as, how much is in each one and everything else. You can see here that the current return on this portfolio is sitting at 16.8% return. And then, of course, you can see on the left-hand side here, how much we put in versus how much we've actually gotten back in investments. So the really cool thing is I actually started this original retirement account with an old company I was part of. And when I left the company about a year afterwards, I went ahead and transitioned it back. I think it was, let me go ahead and switch this over. I think it was back in June of 2017. Yeah, so June of 2017, I transferred my old account, which was about $32,282 into this Vanguard. So I did like a rollover for it. And then just over time, you can see that I was investing in it. And then I can't remember exactly when, but more recently, I transferred over my wife's retirement account over to Vanguard as well. And now they're kind of combined together. Of course, you could see, when the market crashed down over here in early 2020, that was a huge downturn in the market. Cool thing was when that all happened, I actually started investing more into this portfolio just because I wanted to get more value out of my money. So I started depositing more every week. Obviously, I wish I could have done more. And then you could see the overall portfolio has recovered in that sense. So this is a brand new milestone. We've actually never hit it before. The end of last month was $69,596, or end of November, I should say. And then you can see here, now we're over 70,000. So I'm pretty excited. We're going to be hitting over 100,000, sooner rather than later, I think. Obviously, permitting that the market is still doing well. Even if it goes down, we'll be buying more regardless. If I scroll down here, you can see, so we have a couple different accounts. So we have the rollover, which was the first one up here, and this one. That one right there, we have 59,627. A lot of that has to do with the fact that I actually started my retirement account fairly young with the company I was working with, and they did a lot of matching. And like I said, you saw like almost 33,000 transferred over. And then we got my wife's Roth started for her at $10,908 currently. So we only started hers a couple of years ago, so she's obviously a little behind as far as how much we have in the account. But the nice thing is, combined together, we are sitting at a really good dollar amount. And this is just, of course, our retirement. We also do have regular investments. If you follow the channel, I actually do show you my regular taxable account pretty much on a weekly basis. I also just like showing this as well too, because obviously we're doing some really good returns here when it comes to the actual market. And then, I'm going to show you guys the different stocks that I'm holding, or mutual funds, I should say, that I'm holding in here, and kind of their current return. So let me go ahead and clear this off, and I'm going to go ahead and jump onto the next screen so you guys can see what we're holding in this portfolio and how we're getting, 17% return right now with our money, and having earned, to me, a pretty incredible $25,000 doing nothing else. Now, again, because it's retirement, this won't be accessed until much, much later. But even so, I can only imagine what it'll be by the time we actually hit retirement. So, like I said, let me switch over and show you guys the different stocks that we have in here. So before we go on and show you some more of the Vanguard portfolio, I just want to take a moment to let you guys know, if you have student loans that you need to potentially refinance, check out my friends at Earnest right over here. They have an opportunity for you to spend less than 2 minutes to figure out if you have the opportunity to save some money with your refinance. I'll have a link for them in the show notes down below. If you can refinance, save money, you can invest more in the market, you can save more, or do whatever you want. The link down below supports the channel, but it also gives you a nice little bonus. So make sure you check that out and refinance today. Now, let's go ahead and hop back onto the rest of the content. All right, so here are the different investments that we have. Like I mentioned, it's not actually stocks, it's all mutual funds through Vanguard. So right now we actually have 3 funds. This one right here is just the money market, so you can kind of ignore that one down here. And you can see the very first one is the VFIAX ticker number, and this is going to be the Vanguard 500 Index Fund. This is pretty much VOO in most other places, but for some reason Vanguard has this as a mutual fund with that ticker number, but it's effectively the same thing, has the same expense ratio as well. And you could just kind of see here the performance over time just on the stock itself, I'll actually go into a section where you can see the performance that we've had for each one individually, and I'll go in that one in a second. But you can see, in the last 10 years, we're getting 14.15% return on average for this portfolio, or this mutual fund, I should say. And then the next one is ticker number VEXPX, and this is the Vanguard Explorer Fund. This one has a much higher expense ratio. I've actually been investing less in this one, not because of the expense ratio, but because the returns haven't been as stellar in the past. The last year or two has been pretty great, but then if you look at their 10-year average, it's been actually less than where my main fund is. And then you can see down here, we have the last ticker number is VWUSX, and that is the Vanguard Growth Fund. So this one does have a high expense ratio as well too. But if you actually look at this, just in the last year, it's been incredible as far as returns. And then even in the last 10 years, you can see right over here, it's been 18.54. So even though we're paying a higher expense on this side, we are getting a lot better return over here than we are on the main fund. Now, this fund right over here, the growth fund, is definitely a little bit more risk, but obviously I'm okay with taking a little bit of risk. It's a smaller portion of my portfolio than the Vanguard 500 fund, but that's kind of like what I'm trying to do, is trying to make sure that my money can grow for me as well too. So what we're going to do is actually go look and see the actual funds themselves and how they're performing. Obviously, you saw the total dollar amount. All right, so here we're going to do a balance comparison from where we were at the end of last year to where we are now, which is almost the end of this current year. So this will kind of give us a really good idea. So that very first fund, the VFIAX, which is that Vanguard 500 fund, which is the index fund, you can see here at the end of 2019, we ended up with 33,480. And then the end balance towards the end of this year is almost 40,000, which is a 22% increase. And you can see here that is over 7,379. Now, keeping in mind too that, obviously this is including what happened in early 2020. So still having a 22% gain from where we ended up last year is pretty significant. In my opinion, I think that's great. Obviously, like I said, I started buying more in when the market was down. I just saw more opportunities, so I decided to buy more in. And then the next one, which was the VEXPX, this is the Explorer Fund. This is the one that I slowed down on a little bit here. You can see, so at the end of last year, we had $6,246, and then this year we're at $7,891, which is still a 26% increase. So it's actually has performed better than my main fund as far as percentage, even though it does cost a little bit more. But then you can see here, because it's a much smaller portion of my portfolio, we got $1,645 in that growth over the last year. And then the last one here for my account is going to be the VWUSX, and this was the Vanguard Growth Fund. So this one had that amazing performance over the last year, and you can see it right here. We had $6,607, which is just a tiny bit more than the fund right above it. But look at how it is so far for this year. It's at $10,875, 64% increase. Like, can I just wish I could go back in this position and go in and obviously just dump a lot more money in here? I wish, right? Like, I really, really wish I could have. Obviously, you can see the gain here has been $4,267.45. So, this is something that, I'm always being very cautious with. Every year I come in here and go through and make sure that things are working well. The Explorer Fund, the middle fund right over here, I was mentioning earlier, this is the one where I'm kind of debating on, do I want to keep investing in this, or do I want to add more to the growth fund instead and kind of focus in on that area? Because obviously the growth has been a lot more stellar. But we'll kind of see how that goes. Usually every couple of years I do some kind of rebalancing in this account. And then if we keep scrolling down, so we have a traditional that we actually just recently rolled over. So that's why you see like negative 100% here. We just rolled this over all into the Roth account. So we did a conversion over here, keeping in mind, of course, there were some tax implications that we're going to have for this, but that's fine because now we get to have this all in the Roth, and then we can just focus in on investing in the Roth for this one, which, by the way, the first one that you saw, that was just a traditional. So we have a traditional and we have a Roth. So we're kind of working on both ends, getting some tax savings now and then getting some tax savings down the road as well. So this one currently is all focused in on just that same fund that I have in my main account up at the top, which is the VFIAX, and that's the Vanguard 500 index. So you can see over here, this number is obviously pretty skewed just because I did the transfer over from here to here. So it's a little harder to gauge the exact amount, but we did start this account at the end of last year at 3,582. And if you exclude this, it still had an amazing growth because I think at that point it was still up almost, what, $7,000 or up to at $7,000. So that's still a growth of almost $4,000 from where it started in 2019 or where it ended in 2019. So if you exclude that transfer over, it still did really, really well for this account. And I do plan on adding the VWUSX account on there. I know it's kind of like cut off there on the screen. Hold on one second. So I plan on adding that fund as well to this account. That's the one that had that amazing growth, and I still believe that it's going to have some amazing growth. But of course, it's more risk, so it'll probably be maybe 10 to 15% of this portfolio once we kind of go through and add it in there and do all the changes for it as well. So you guys can see that happening. I'll keep you guys updated, obviously making sure that we, show you, every couple of months how this portfolio is doing. I'll also show you the dividends that we've earned from this as well too, because if you follow along on this channel, I'm big on dividends, so I really like paying attention to that stuff. We're gonna actually switch over to my dividend spreadsheet that I have here. So let me just kind of adjust the screen over here for 1 second. So you can see here, this says Vanguard dividend income. So what I do is I keep track of all the dividends that I earn across the board with all my accounts, and my Vanguard one is my retirement, but I still nonetheless keep track of it. So right now, the last time I got paid out on a dividend was in September, because the stocks that I have, or the mutual funds, I should say, are ones that only pay out once a quarter. So as of right now, you can see the rest of them are kind of still blank for the remaining months of the year until we get paid out on the last month of the last quarter. So we're still waiting on that one, but you can see here, combined total with all of the payouts, we last time made $192.08, which was pretty stellar. The quarter before that was actually a little bit better at 201.01, and then the quarter before that was significantly less at 160.03, but nonetheless, still three great payouts, and we still have one more to go for this year. But in total, we've actually made this year $553.12 in dividend income. Now, because this is the retirement account, it is of course being reinvested with the intent to have all that money being paid out in retirement, and hopefully we get enough dividend income to supplement anything else that we have. Of course, if we wanted to use the principal, we can do that too. If we compare what we made last year, which was a total of $650, we're doing pretty well considering that I think December is going to end up a really solid month, possibly back over 200 hopefully. So we will knock out of the water what we made in 2019, not including what we've of course made in growth, because you guys saw that growth that we've had over the last, so much amount of time, because if we go back to this, where was it? We have changed on one account over $13,000, and then on the second account, if you minus the exchange right over there, that's almost another $4,000 right over there, $4,300. And so like for me personally, I'm just like, hey, that's some really great, principal growth. And of course, that's some really great, dividends. That's some just, value growth right over there too that, we'll have in the future as well. So, for me, I look at this stuff and I say, okay, the dividends are great, but that's not my only focus. I really want to focus in on all aspects. I want to have dividends for the long term. I want to have growth for the future. I want to have all these different things. And let me actually switch my screen to the side again. We're going to look at some of these charts. So these charts are things that I made, which, by the way, if you are interested in something like this, I have a free spreadsheet you guys can download, which is this right here. In the show notes down below, you guys can do that. It does obviously just require an email address, but then I just shoot you an email right back, giving you the access to this, and you can download it and make your own copy and plug in your information. I love tracking my stuff. So you can see here, how much I've made in dividends, and you can see like the orange dots here are like moving up higher every single time, and that way we are making more than we did the year before. You can see our annual dividends so far, again, because we haven't fully put in all of 2020 yet, because we haven't gotten paid out yet, but this will definitely surpass it. We can see how much we've done quarterly thus far, and then we can see our average from per month. But because we get paid out quarterly, obviously, on the front end, we saw there was only 3 payouts so far. But if we average that out for the 11 months thus far, when we've collected, that's $50.28 a month. Obviously nothing we can live off of, but that's not the goal right now. The goal is to just build up everything. And you can see total in dividends that we've earned has been over $1,200. So $1,200 is what we've made from dividends with Vanguard, and we just take that money and invest it right back into the market, so that way it's buying in. Sometimes it buys in at really high prices, sometimes it buys when the market is down. So either way, it is still benefiting us because it's building up our portfolio and giving us the opportunity to keep on investing and seeing, growth like this, growth that is 28.69%. Like that's a great year. This one again is a little skewed over here at the 204%, but still a great year across the board between these two different, technically different accounts, but they're all lumped up into one because, we're planning on utilizing this money together for big future goals for retirement, but then we also have those other big goals as well too. Like I said, if you want to download the dividend tracker that you saw here, make sure you check out the links below. And then if you want to support the channel, I do have those links as well down there that can help us, continue to make content just like this, and also helping you potentially save some more money as well. I want you to keep on watching more when it comes to, focusing on the dividends and focusing on your portfolio. So check out my next video right over here to keep on doing that and keep on learning. My name is Dennis, and I'll see you guys in that next video.